Okay, we're live. Hello, everyone, and welcome to our webinar titled Safer Spaces During and After COVID-19. My name is Michael Brown, and I'm the founder and CEO of Swept Software. We help janitorial and commercial cleaning business owners like you increase the retention of your contracts and the retention of your employees through better communication. And in fact, Swept customers retain their contracts 91% better than industry average, which is something I'm very proud of. So today it's a very special webinar because not only do we have Ricky Regalado with us, the owner of Rozalado Services, we also have three of his clients to share their thoughts, concerns, and insights as people who are actually hiring cleaning companies, to keep their workspaces, their workplaces clean and safe. So thank you all for joining.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
So we'll kick off with some intros and then jump into questions right away. First thing, I'd like Darcy to launch a couple polls so we get a sense of who's with us today. And a quick shout out to Darcy. She's always in the background here on keeping everything pulled together for these webinars. So thank you very much, Darcy. So it's never been so important to build strong and trusted relationships with your vendors, your clients and employees. And right now, the industry, the janitorial industry, is being tasked with ensuring that public spaces and businesses are clean and safe. And equally important is that when we all come out of our homes and this pandemic passes, that people actually feel safe. Otherwise, they're not going to be spending their money. They're not going to be going out and turning the economy back on. So that's why Ricky and I wanted to bring this group of people here, because we've heard through polls at past webinars and through a lot of chatter in the industry that some people are not comfortable talking to their clients. So we wanted to bring, these are not your clients, they're Ricky's, but they're in the same shoes. And so this is a great opportunity for you to ask questions in the chat and really get a sense so you can help position your company and make sure that people are returning to work safely. So first off, if we can do a quick intro, with your name, your business, the industry you're from, and kind of the impact COVID's had on you guys so far, if your business is open, if it's reopening, things like that, just to kind of give us a jumping point. Steve, maybe we can kick off with you.
Sure. My name is Steve Fiorentino. I'm president and partner of Parker Restaurant Group. So we have two brands, the Hampton Social, 7 locations in Chicagoland. We have 5. One here in Naples, Florida. We also have one in Nashville, Tennessee, and then we have The Basement, which is a brand of ours too, in Chicago. All locations have been closed since March 16th and been working safely to try to put the plan together to relaunch in the hospitality industry here.
Got it. Awesome. Thanks for sharing. And Price?
Yeah, hi. Price Williams. I'm with Oak Street Health. And we own and operate approximately 60 healthcare clinics in 8 states, and with another 25 on the plate to start operations this summer. Our primary patient demographic are elderly, disadvantaged. So this is a particular subject that is huge for us, obviously, in the healthcare world.
Yeah, absolutely. You guys are really taking a hit on that. And John, love to hear about you.
Yeah, John Talbot. I'm with Charter Fitness. We're a Chicago-based fitness chain. We've got 20 locations in Illinois and Indiana. We also have been closed since March 17th when the executive order was released. We've definitely been working very hard to keep our customers engaged with video content and workouts while this is going on, and keeping them informed along the way of what we're doing to make sure when we're allowed to reopen, we can do so safely for everyone.
Awesome. And Ricky, I'm sure lots of people know you, but you can give your intro as well. Welcome back, by the way.
Of course, yeah. We talk every day now, Mike. Yeah, guys, everybody, it's Ricky Regalado from Rozalado Services, as well as Route the Service platform. But more so Rozalado today, right? When Mike brought this up to me and brought the idea of, Rick, do you have a couple clients you think of that you can put in this webinar? Because I'd love to talk about this topic, because it is a strong a strong point that cleaning companies, facility companies should be talking to their clients. They, a perfect example here, we'll get into it, is Charter Fitness. John is actually a new client. We just started a relationship literally weeks ago. So, Steve is a good friend, known him for a while, started working with him over about a year ago. And then Price, we've just gotten to learn and know each other as well, where, constant communication. So, thanks, Mike, for bringing this together, because this is something that business owners and anybody in the industry should always be communicating now more than ever, because we're in unprecedented times right now.
Absolutely. So we have a great group: healthcare, restaurant, fitness, industries that are being hit by this and getting ready and, anticipating opening up. So with that in mind, from a health and safety perspective, how are you guys feeling, like, personally, about returning to work? Are you nervous? Are you excited? I mean, people want to get out and get going, but how are you feeling about the reopening, and how's that feeling for you?
I mean, I can go first. I'm very excited about it. We actually have our first location that's going to be able to open back up in Mishawaka on May 26th. So we've been working hard to get everything ready to go for that. I'm sure the day will have its challenges and, unexpected things that may come about, but I feel we're ready to service our members and do it safely.
Awesome.
Yeah, I can jump in with the same sentiment there. We're very excited to get back, but using this time, we've been working with an operations team. We put, a task force together to get that reopening plan, because it is a lot of new standards that you're putting in place. So there's excitement, but we're putting the employee first. And obviously that just trickles down to making the safest environment for the customers. But the team, although it's been a hard time, is definitely excited to get back to things.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I didn't mention in my introduction, obviously a healthcare company, we didn't close. We closed a handful of centers that were lower volume, but for the most part, we're still open and seeing patients. So our adjustments to this COVID crisis has been while we're moving, and it's been quite a challenge. And partnering with Rozalado has helped a lot. Constant communication has been the key to this whole thing, and we're on the verge of rolling out a whole new cleaning program that's really out of the norm of the model of cleaning that everybody's used to. And so again, we've had to make this adjustment while we're operating, and because folks are still coming into our clinics, except for a handful. So it's very unique and interesting time, for sure.
So it's interesting you guys mentioned the plan. So we conducted a survey at SWEPT the last couple of weeks, asking office managers, facility managers, just different questions about opening up. And 41% said they didn't have an opening plan. So it sounds like you all have opening plans. How much was Ricky, and the team at Rozalado Cleaning involved? Was this something that you guys were doing on your own and including it? How did that look?
Well, as far as us, Ricky and his team, as for sure, I'm in daily communication with these guys, and we have a unique to this group anyway, a need. So I got people who are sick coming into my buildings, and they're bona fide sick. They may not have COVID, but they have other underlying medical conditions which make them susceptible. So we've been working hand in hand with Rozalado and coming up with a way to make it safer for not only the patients but also our staff, who are very susceptible. So it's been key having a good relationship with our vendor, Rozalado.
For us, we've it's definitely been internal. It gets to the point where we know we're going to reach out to Ricky for the location that he works with us. We're in a unique situation that we have different vendors that we work with and partners when it comes to this in Nashville or in Naples, Florida. But we do get to that point where we take our internal plan and now we turn it over. Ricky's an expert in his field. So we'll say, hey, here's what we put together. Can you poke any holes, or do you see anything that kind of, we're hospitality experts, we're doing our best here and we're using the guidance from CDC, local governments, and we're following that standard. And we feel safe. But once we get to that point, we'll definitely pass it along to our partners like Ricky and say, how does this look to you? Get another set of eyes with expertise on it.
That's great.
Yeah, I agree. It's been a great resource to be able to bounce ideas off of. And overall, I really feel like it's been the cherry on top of what we've been working on. It's what has really given me a lot of comfort to know that those extra steps that we wouldn't have been able to accomplish on our own, that we're going to have people that are dedicated to being able to do that. And we can keep our staff focused on the normal cleaning that we've always done. And we've amped it up quite a bit, but we still have members to service. We have questions to answer. And especially as people start to come back when we reopen, it's going to be great to have his team working on cleaning and making sure the club's safe throughout the day. And then our staff is informing members of what our new expectations are of them and the changes that we've made in the club.
That's awesome. What kind of question did you have for Ricky? Because that's one of the things that, as we're seeing, if a cleaning company doesn't reach out to their client and the client doesn't reach it, like, we're trying to get in your head so they can anticipate it and maybe start that conversation. What were some of the early questions with the cleaning, the opening up plan that you had, and you went to Ricky? Or maybe you didn't even go to Ricky, but maybe you were searching online or something like that. Like, how can, again, the goal is, how do we get people to feel comfortable to approach and understand what your needs are?
Yeah. I mean, for us, we actually were fortunate, and we started doing some testing in some of our clubs of just the overall sanitation level, actually prior to all of the COVID-19 pandemic starting. And as that took place, then we realized, this is something that's new to us to have to deal and cope with this on a day-to-day basis with the volume of members that we have come in. And, our members come in and rely on us as being fitness experts. We need to rely on somebody that's an expert in that industry to make sure that we're doing everything that we can to be safe. So it was great to be able to meet him at a facility, walk through, talk about concerns, and, really address and approach, this specific machine, this specific club. That's helped out so much.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I gotta say, Mike, I'll jump in too, because it's pretty funny. Where, not funny, but the three levels of communication here, like that I had with the three guys on right now, when, like Steve brought up, right, hospitality, it's the way everybody approaches cleaning in their vertical, where hospitality to me, and even I would say gym facilities, they have staff, they have they have the ability to perform a lot of tasks, and very right, so they put these responsibilities on the team, right? Where then we normally would come in and just provide that extra layer of service. Where then we're like Steve, probably I think a month ago, right? He reached out and said, Rick, we're starting to get ready, right? Like, we're starting to plan for stuff. What are the extra steps that we should take when it comes to, disinfection and, spraying services, and just overall, like, hey, the stamp of approval to let patrons come in and say, all right, cool, this place has been tip-top shape. It's, disinfected, clean, sanitized. And it goes the same for John with Charter Fitness, where, normally gyms do have their staff doing these responsibilities on a day-to-day, but it's like you have to add that extra layer. So then that's where cleaning professionals should come in. But we've got to do our job to present something legitimate, something that we can execute on, and not just a copy and paste from the CDC or something. Like, we have to know, they have to feel comfortable that we're knowledgeable, responsible, and it's not just about taking advantage of a certain situation. We have the right steps that we should take, because with Price and Oak Street, like you said, we've never really stopped. But what we've done is had to adjust and adapt to certain programs that need to change because of that environment, where every single one of these guys have a different environment for cleaning professional suppliers to come in and do.
Absolutely. Can we talk about your customers, people or guests, people who are coming into your space, because there's going to be a lot of caution as businesses open up, or that are currently open, and people just wondering what's it going to be like to go into the medical facility. How do you balance that communication in a way that they feel confident to go, but there's so much noise and you're getting emails after email after all of this. Like, how do you get your message through?
For us, we've taken the step, again, for our Mishawaka Club that's getting ready to open up, we'll be emailing all of our members what the expectations are for them when they come in for their visits, and also informing them the things that we've done to impact their experience and make it safe for them. As we have guests that come into the club, we're also going to verbally talk to them about it. We'll have sanitized bottles for them that we've actually cleaned to make sure no one's touched this before you're using it, and really have that one-on-one communication. It's one thing for me to know that the facility is safe. I think really the important thing is to convey the message adequately to the members that they understand that they're safe and understand why they're safe. Just saying, hey, John, you're safe, I don't think that's good enough in this situation. You really have to explain and educate them on what we've done to make the facility work for them.
Totally. Yeah.
Yeah. For us, in the beginning, like you said, everyone, every business, you sent out emails, right, talking about closures and mandates, and that became the norm. But then you really tried to bridge the gap between allowing your team to work and have enough time to go back and forth, but showing the customer what you're doing to work to make the environment safe when it's time to come back. We've used social media, our hospitality brand. We have a big following, so we've used that, but we haven't used it yet to allow them to see what we are doing. But just like you said with your fitness clubs, now that we're getting close, Nashville, Tennessee, and Naples, Florida, those markets are opening up. We've done the Mother's Day posts and things like that and hope everyone's doing well. But now it's going to be, here's what we've done. Here's what you're going to see. That's the new norm for the time being, because there is an education factor here for the customer too, totally. Right? Not just for the employee. We're going to train everyone properly, but when the customer comes in, all my years in the restaurant industry, we've never had markings in the waiting areas. We've never had to coach people to wait here. We haven't done, we're going to be using ghost tables where you're sitting, 6 feet apart. So there's going to be that education factor for a bit where you want them to know, this, everything should be comfortable here. And, we're all learning this together at the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, from the healthcare perspective, people have an expectation before you even go to the hospital or a doctor's office. That's an implied, expected reassurance. People always expect when you go to a doctor's office, you're going to be safe, right? And so we have to, the minute they come through the door, we're doing stuff internally, staggering appointments. That's going to be happening, changing the configuration of waiting rooms, things like that. We operate very high volume clinics. And so that's all changing. But the minute somebody walks in that door, they need to know and be reassured that we have taken every step we can to make it a safe environment. So they're going to see people in masks and full PPE protective gear, retail screens, at the counter. We have to go a step beyond, because people, again, have this expectation of healthcare. They're not going there to get sick. They're going there to get well. So it's a very, very different.
Yeah, absolutely. So we had someone on a webinar recently, and they mentioned that when they're doing the electrostatic, disinfecting, that they're actually putting little stickers on. So when people enter the space, enter the restaurant, they can see, okay, this was cleaned. Here's the cleaning schedule. Here's when it was disinfected. Are you guys, doing anything like that so they can see or thinking about doing things like that so they know what kind of services are being provided?
Yeah, we're actually going to have signs on all of our equipment that will show the last time it was cleaned, whether it was from Rozalado or from the staff, so that members can really ensure that this is safe for me to be able to use. And then obviously we're also going to have the expectation for members that as they're using pieces that they should wipe down things, but we want to go above and beyond and just not rely on the members. So definitely we'll have signs on our equipment to inform everybody of when that was last sanitized.
Got it.
We're definitely going to have something very similar to what you described there in high traffic areas. For us, after every use, tables is going to be very customer forward. They're going to be seeing that there is a new standard than just what we have a high standard in how we always keep our spaces clean in hospitality. but it's a whole new world at this point. So it is going to be very face forward, but the high traffic areas, the front door, the entryway, the restrooms, things like that, there are going to be those checklists that you're showing that show kind of a time and when it was done last.
Yep. It's interesting that one of the survey results we had is that 45% of respondents didn't actually know quite what was being done in their space, didn't know what supplies were, the chemicals and things like that. 86% said that moving forward, they want to know, what the cleaning company is doing, what supplies they're using. How do you guys, do you have an active role? Maybe not you, but maybe someone on your team in terms of, knowing what the cleaning company is actually doing in supplies? Are you involved in, having a full understanding of that, or are you just trusting the cleaning company?
Well,
I can start that. We're definitely involved with them. We do rely a lot on the expertise. Like when I talk to Ricky, it's, hey, here's what we're hearing. Here's what we're talking about. Give me some, give me a good sense of what you guys are getting. And the thing I love is, Ricky being the expert he is and other partners we have, they're not throwing everything at you because you're getting all this type of stuff. Ricky knows it's different what he's going to have to do for the restaurants than it is for the gyms and then the healthcare world. So there are things that he says, we don't quite need that for what you're doing. But you might need this. So it has been really good. And I, have never been one to shy away. I know what I'm an expert in and what I need some expert advice in. And this is definitely something that I'd rely on Ricky and anyone like that to really give us an edge and a stamp of approval pretty much.
Yeah, I would agree. He's done a great job of keeping us informed of what they're using. Our normal suppliers also done a great job of keeping us up to date, to make sure that the sanitizers we're using are effective for COVID-19 and just in general that they're effective. That again, that's what led us to doing some testing before this all started, was because we really do have to keep everybody safe.
Yeah, as far as healthcare and Oak Street, I work every day with Rozalado and Ricky and his staff, but also on the back end, on my side, we have people involved in patient safety. Like we have a director of patient safety, and believe me, we have very strict protocols where we need to identify every single chemical that's being used. Product protocols on the use and the proper use of PPE equipment and methods of disinfecting everything. And we are working, every day, a few times a day with Ricky and setting up those protocols and systems on how we're going to roll forward with this.
Yeah, Mike, what I gotta say too is, I have never had so much conversation about PPE, like you said, chemicals, what's on the label of the chemical, right? Like, it's not that a cleaning business owner or a facility service business owner or anybody as a vendor should always be educated, but now it's like, expect the client to know as well now, like more so than before, and be open. I've had open dialogue with everybody here where they've come up with a suggestion. All right, I'll go look it up. I'll do some research. You know what? Not a great use case in this scenario, but here's something else I found. Or, again, the open dialogue creates better programs. Cleaning business owners should expect now that their clients are going to know as much as they do or close to it. But then it's our job to take it a step further to be able to implement the new strategies and just leverage, the things that we have, like me and John, John's going to come over right now after we're done with this to pick up some masks because he needs them, right? And he can source them. He's got some coming himself, but he needed some today, so it's like, again, don't just think cleaning, think everything around the facility, but Steve nailed it with, I'm going to present something to Steve differently than John, differently than Price, because these are three different verticals,
Totally.
Steve's got to worry about food. Now we have to worry about food everywhere in the environment. John has to worry about, there's not going to be a lot of precipitation and bodily fluids and things going on in a gym that's different than with Price at healthcare facilities that, nobody's working out at a healthcare facility. So it's know your client, know the vertical, and just speak to them. These guys they say they're not experts in cleaning, but man, I've already learned so much from some of them when they bring up, good topics.
Yeah. Absolutely. What role will PPE play for you guys as your businesses open, or if they currently are open, in terms of employees and clients, customers? Is there going to be requirements, do you feel, or you specifically feel that you will have requirements for people? You go grocery shopping, you're cleaning carts and your hands and things like that before entering. What are your thoughts on that?
All of our staff will be wearing masks during their shifts. We also will have physical barriers, plexiglass, while they're up at the front, so that way it'll separate them from the member as we're having transactions, as people are checking in. It certainly is challenging in the check-in area at times when you have so many people that are coming in. So that I think that extra layer of protection is going to go a really long way. We're also going to strongly encourage our members to wear their masks for the duration of their workouts. But overall, I mean, we're going to really stick very closely to the guidelines that's been given to us to make sure that everybody's following what they're supposed to do. Every members are safe, and really we're taking every step we can to give the best service to our members.
Yeah, we're following a similar approach when it comes to employees. PPE is required by the employees when it comes to face masks, gloves. Obviously, sanitation stations that were not in the restaurant before are going to be up. We're in a unique situation though, where restaurants, the customer, when you're coming in to eat, you can't be wearing a mask. So again, we are following that CDC guideline, and if someone wears it in, absolutely, we're all for it. But we know we have to set up a scenario where we're keeping distance and making that distance from each other, the standard, because when you're sitting down and eating, there aren't going to be masks for at least the customer. But employees, yes, absolutely, everyone is required.
Yeah, obviously, in my world, PPE is everything. So everybody's going to have fully covered face shields, the whole everything. Because we do have contact. We do have nurses and doctors that have to touch the patient.
Totally.
And so social distancing is often in this situation not even impossible. So PPE is everything, and not only for staff, but also for patients. Patients are going to have to be masked, and as much protection on them as well, because that risk is high.
So medical experts are talking about, around the world, about a second wave of this, whether it's going to come during flu season in the fall or whatever the case is. But are you now, we're preparing to open, but are you thinking about that? Are you putting plans together? Have you learned things from the kickoff of this pandemic to prepare you for that, or where do you line up with that?
It's been interesting to see how quick business models have changed as this has taken place. Really from day one of us being closed, we started filming workout videos using our own staff, our own trainers, getting those out to our members for free. We wanted to make sure to leave their workout time as uninterrupted as possible while all this has been going on. As we reopen, we do not plan to discontinue those workouts. Some people are going to be unsure and uneasy about coming back. We want to still be able to keep them active and healthy. One of the best things people can do for themselves to boost their immune system is to stay active and healthy. So, the workouts, I think, are going to go a long way. We've also taken steps to, beyond what it is that's required in the club to try to keep things going in a positive direction. We've distanced out our equipment. We've created personalized workout zones for people in areas that it's difficult to understand how close am I really to the next person. That way there's no guesswork. I definitely don't think guessing is something anyone should do during a time like this. You really need to be certain. And if you're not certain, you need to dive deeper and get some more information. But, that certainly is a possibility of this coming back. I hope that all the steps that we're taking can help combat that. And, the virtual content that we're providing can get us through either way if something like that were to happen again.
Yeah, on our end, we're definitely putting plans in place. We're, like you said, we're hoping it doesn't, but we all know, right? Hope's not a viable option to lean towards. So we hope it goes the right direction. But, this first time around, we did not actually, our restaurants did not do takeout and delivery. It was a very quick, right? The mandates came down, and we have large footprint restaurants. We have our smallest location is 7,000. Our largest is 17,000 square feet. So,
Yeah.
That plan of trying to use takeout and delivery on them, if it were to come again, and say, is it viable for us to, put that plan into place and at least keep some sales, because it's very hard to go from what you're doing to zero, right? And say, how can we keep this afloat? So takeout and delivery will be something we would look into. But again, we're still working on, if this comes up again and these limits come back down, what's the best way to go? So it's still in the process.
Yeah. And so I don't see that we would really close at all. We'd, like I said before, we temporarily closed a handful of centers, of clinics, and we've supplemented with telemedicine, which, we developed a telemedicine program in weeks, where we now have contact with our patients. So I don't really see us closing or changing anything. If there's a second wave, we'll continue as we are. The key to us is having the program implemented now, changing the way we're doing things now. We have to do it now. And again, partnering with Rozalado has really helped. And we're about to roll out a whole new program, which changes the way our centers are cleaned and completely goes away from the traditional model of janitorial services. So
with that in mind, do you think that, let's say that a second wave doesn't come and we're 12 months from now, the assumption is that cleaning needs have increased at a lot of businesses through this. If this goes away, do you think that you will readjust? Do you think you guys, businesses in general, or do you think this is the way cleaning is going to be done for the foreseeable future?
I think there's a very good likelihood that this is what the standard will be going forward. I think it's going to be tough to walk back from where we're at right now. Even if, there isn't another pandemic, people aren't getting sick, things still should be clean. I think that should be a standard for any business, regardless of how many touch points you have and what the reason for your customers coming in. So I look forward to it being that, everything is cleaner gyms, cleaner restaurants. It's good for everybody. So I really think that this will end up being the standard. I'm sure some of the PPE stuff may be dialed back. I know lots of people were looking forward to not wearing masks, not having barriers up. But as far as keeping things clean, I don't see anything wrong with keeping that standard as high as possible. And in our industry, that's always been a critical deciding factor for a member to determine one place from another is how clean is this facility.
And if you're looking for excellence in operation, I agree, and I think we all would, right? That's part of what you do. It's just the standard. Now I agree that this new standard, there is a new norm. People have new expectations when it comes to sanitation and cleaning. That's where my discussions with Ricky, like he said, have gone. Hey, these are new things that we're looking at that even though we had a very high standard before, it's higher now, and it's not just for us as business owners and people running business, but Ricky, I'm sure for your company, you guys have a whole new standard and a whole new way of operating. So yeah, as phases go through, we've actually approached, opening our businesses in a phased approach too. I agree that PPE, things like that will fall off once, however long it takes to get back to where that customer confidence is at. But when it comes to cleaning and sanitizing, I think those are going to stick around, and as they should.
Yeah, I concur. Healthcare, right? I mean, that's always the expectation, that it's a clean, sterile environment. So I don't think anything's going to change on our end. Maybe a little bit of PPE, maybe a couple precautionary things that we're doing now, but of course not. This is healthcare, and it's expected and demanded and very much needed. So I don't see any changes.
In terms of the disinfecting, because there's so much noise, that's the other thing. I've heard both from people on both sides, both the cleaning companies and people who are hiring. not really sure what to do. There's so many different products. There's so many different services. Some people want to do it in-house. Some people want to, bring a company like Ricky in to do it, once a week, once a month, and they're going to do it in between. How are you guys managing that? Because I am hearing more people wanting to do some in-house work just because the frequency is kind of intense. How's that working for you guys?
For us internally, we do have things that our staff is responsible for, right? Ricky's company, though, comes in on a nightly basis, and they do a whole different standard now that there's going to be new things added. But I think your question was, what other steps are they going to be taking, meaning the staff? Is that what it was?
Yeah, are you guys going to be doing this, doing some sanitization yourself, looking maybe to have Ricky train some of your team to do certain things because he can't be there at all times. Just wondering how you guys manage that.
Yeah, we're going to send that plan definitely to him so he can get looks. And there's been things that, sanitizers that we used before, or even the table wipes that we use, they wouldn't be right now. They wouldn't be the standard that you would use, right? So we've had to change and bring in new product. Even when it comes to dishwashing capability, we've had to go with new things, and then just sanitizing on our own end. We are bringing in new products, and Ricky's my main go-to on, hey, does this fit that standard? Is this getting to the level we want to be? And then just on top of that, right, the nightly service that we get to close us out to get a set for the next day of service is where Ricky's company will come in with some new things too.
Mike, I think that's a great question. I wanted you to touch on that because it's pretty remarkable how different, again, this is, right? Where you have healthcare, the program that, that Price and I are talking about, like it's a program that can be done in healthcare because it's possible, right? And then the program that we got talking, me and John, for Charter Fitness, again, it's a program I think that can work, where I think Steve's in a scenario where hospitality and restaurants, you really, not that it's out of sight, out of mind, but Steve, that's something that, I'd love to hear on too, is hospitality, you really don't expect to see disinfecting, deep cleaning, like that magnitude of cleaning to happen during while you're eating dinner. It's just, I feel like that's going to be something that's going to be interesting that I'm looking forward to talking to Steve about whereas that level of cleaning is going to be different now, where you're right, like during the day, it has to be done. So a cleaning company can't be there 24/7. So we got to do our job to, educate and talk to the clients like John and Price and Steve and everybody else to say, this is the 1, 2, 3 step process you should take. This is what we're doing. You might as well do the same thing, right? Like keep it going, keep the consistency. Because like John said, this is the new norm, and it very well should be, because, it's not about today, it's about tomorrow. Can this happen again? What did we do to prevent this, and what steps are we taking? Because nobody could have predicted this, so we've got to do what we got to do now.
Yeah, agreed. We've even gone the steps of altering our hours, whereas before we would have been open 24/7 and we had periods of time during the evening where we were unstaffed. We've made it so that now all hours we're open. We have staff that are there, because while it's going to be great, kind of go with the counterpoint of what Ricky was saying of in hospitality, people don't expect to see deep cleaning. In the fitness industry, people definitely expect to see that. If we did all of our cleaning during a time when our members weren't in the club, there'd be a lot of what ifs and questions there. You're very excited that they're going to be able to get in during times when our customers can see them, and that we've been able to alter our staffing schedules accordingly to make sure that if there's a member in a club, then we have people that are there cleaning during that time, and that the members can see it and understand it and address it accordingly.
Yeah, it's interesting with that perception, because we've also talked to people where teams have gone in full, head to toe PPE gear to clean, because they're like, look, we're going to lead the charge. And then the public is like, whoa, what's happened in there that you have to go, is it safe for me to go in there? So it's kind of, like you say, you need to be visible, but also not scare people as well, right?
I think, just like the reason you got us all together, I think talking about this and getting right in front of it and communicating with your customers is the best way you can make people feel safe. Anything that's uncertain, oftentimes being scared or nervous is one of our natural reactions. But I find that I get my best confidence from being informed about something that I'm unsure of. So I think them being able to see Ricky and his crew in there cleaning things and being able to come up and talk to our staff and ask, hey, what is going on there? What is it that they're using? Why is this happening right now? And us being able to have staff that are trained to answer those questions is going to go a long way with letting the member understand how far we've gone to make sure that it's safe for them to come back.
Yeah. I'll share a poll result with you just out of interest. We asked what percentage of your clients have included you in their operating, their opening plan, and only 18% said that they had like the majority of their clients that are involved. So you think about how many offices in the country are going to be opening up, and the cleaning companies are not necessarily involved with all of them. So I think that's probably one of the big takeaways from this. We're seeing a group of people that are working with their cleaning company. The business owner is taking responsibility, the cleaning company, and then coming together, because it's pretty scary. I personally, I always think about a restaurant. I want the kitchen to be clean, and now I want to know everything as we've been discussing, right? Yeah.
Yeah,
Ricky,
I mean, I see a perfect comment on here from Glenda, just saying cleaning for health, right? Like that is what we as cleaning professionals should be educating and giving all the resources possible to clients like I have here, where, the days of not just spraying and wiping, because not that that's how everybody was doing it before, but, we just had the perception of cleaning was cleaning, right? Where we've got to show clients that it's a step process. It's, you got to clean and remove soil first, visible, non-visible. Then you got to disinfect, allow the chemical to do their job. Then you have to allow for dwell time to then come back and use rinse water to clean. Like those are things that, I may not talk to John and Price about in the past as much, but those are going to be conversations that we should have, because John just nailed it with what happens if a gym member does ask, the staff, hey, how are they cleaning? And could you imagine if that staff member said, oh, they're cleaning, tell that member they're doing a 3-step process. Watch how quickly they go home and say, wow, these guys are taking it a step above. I just learned something. Imagine going to the gym to learn about cleaning or, directing or sanitizing. Same thing with, Price with the healthcare. It's like, they're going to see stuff being done now, where before, not that it was never done before, but it's just the seeing it is believing it, is understanding.
Building trust.
It's just trust.
Yeah. Are there any gaps still existing for you guys as you think about reopening, or you're staying open? Like, is there any gaps with you and Ricky? I don't have to put Ricky on the spot, but other questions you have. But, I'm thinking about this again. There's people, clearly, the majority of people who are not involved in opening plans. They have to reach out. I'm really hopeful we're going to keep driving this home in every webinar that we're putting on to reach out to your clients. Are there still gaps? It sounds like you guys are positioned extremely well, but are there still questions you have, or things that you're going to call on Ricky for in the coming weeks and months?
I would certainly imagine, for me, the biggest uncertainty right now is really just going to be what's the reaction from the members as we open the doors and the first people start to come in, which looking forward to being able to experience and see that firsthand next week. Honestly, it's been very easy to get in touch with Ricky and ask questions. I mean, I rarely wait more than a couple minutes for a response. It's been easy to get things done. It's given us a lot of confidence in we've made the right choice for who to trust our members' safety with. But I think, everything works well with a plan until that one thing you didn't plan for comes in and throws that monkey wrench in there. So I'm sure we're going to find some bumps in the road along the way, but I feel like we've done every step we can to plan accordingly. And we've got a great team that we're working with to handle those uncertainties as they arise.
Awesome.
Yeah. For us, we already know that this is going to be ever evolving, and we got the unique situation where, not unique, but we have 8 locations that we're opening up, and they're happening at different times. So Nashville's our first store that we're going to open up, and we know we're going to learn a lot from that we're going to bring back to the Illinois stores. But internally and with partners like Ricky, there's going to be those things that, even though as great of a plan as we're building, there's going to be something that's brought to the table where it's, we can do that, and that can even make it better or make the customer feel, it's a little more, it's safer. And for us, the employee, it's just as important, right? We want them to feel safe. We want them to know everything that Ricky and companies like that are doing and that we're doing internally. So everyone gets comfortable quicker and we get to, have an understanding between all of us.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's
so, we have an entire committee within my organization focused on just this subject, and questions come up daily, hourly. And one thing I can say is if I contact someone from my cleaning company, I know that I'm going to get a reply within an hour, usually quicker than that. And that if I were to give any advice to somebody who owns a cleaning company or runs one, is to respond quickly. It shows that you care. It shows that you want to make a difference and that the client is important. And I think that's key, is communication. And in my world, the questions are going to continue to come up. It's ever changing. This is the fluid situation. The CDC is going to have ever changing guidelines. And so things are going to change often. And so there has to be an open dialogue. Again, if I were a cleaning company, I know that sometimes you see that email and you're like, oh, I'm afraid to open it. Oh God, what are they going to say? No, you got to be there. This is now at the forefront. Cleaning is not just, come in at night and clean the place and empty the trash cans and make sure it looks nice. This is for real now.
Yeah.
And, there's lives at stake.
Mm-hmm.
It's interesting as I hear, as we've gone through this, Ricky is uniquely positioned. You actually all benefit from each other because you're open in the medical side nonstop. So Ricky is working with you. He can see, he can capture insights, share, from a restaurant perspective, from a fitness. And so everything that you guys are learning is going into Ricky. He's sharing it with you, and that kind of ecosystem to keep everyone safe, which again is, the point of this whole session. It's interesting to see that dynamic, how that works. You get a full team of people on cleaning staff that can inform Ricky as well. There's a lot of sharing opportunities.
Yeah. Agreed. And I mean, we've talked a lot about sharing information with customers and the importance in making customers feel safe. But I think that extra layer of communication that we're talking about right now, it also impacts the staff a lot. Right now, I think with people reopening, everybody's very customer focused, as they should be. It's easy to forget about the fact that without your staff and without that team, you have no one to serve those customers. There's no one to open the doors. There's no one to have smiles greeting them. Being able to communicate with him and his expertise, and then being able to pass that along to the staff and the training that happens with them, it really goes a long way. I think a safe team is a confident team, and that confidence will pass on to everybody's customers.
Yeah, absolutely. It's interesting. Jackie Bird wrote, they've reached out to all of their clients. None have responded. They reached out for a free consultation to help them set things up, and no one's responded. And someone else has actually said, ditto, same thing. Interesting. I guess the world's on fire. People's businesses are in different spots. People have gone to zero revenue and trying to pull together. But it is interesting to see that some cleaning companies are reaching out and getting nothing.
Yeah,
have you experienced that, Ricky?
I think it might have to be messaging though, because trust me, that we've got a lot of no responses as well, but it's probably about timing, right? Because you gotta know there's, we have a lot of technology companies as well. They're foregoing opening their office for like 3 to 4 more months because they could work remote. So I think the office environment is a little different. The need for, they've been shut down for 2 months. It's an office, right? It's an office building. They aren't as, not that they don't need cleaning as much, but when you're talking about verticals like we have today on this episode, these guys are open. They need to open. Their livelihood of a business is to be open, 5, 6, 7 days a week, where, you're going to get no responses. That's okay. But continue to message, continue to, maybe take some points from this discussion here where let's not just talk about deep cleaning. What is deep cleaning? What chemicals are you using? What services? I know I've seen some comments on electrostatic spraying and fogging. John, Price, Steve, they may not know what fogging is or electrostatic spraying. So let's use a different message to let them know what that truly means. And, attach a video. I know, Price, I sent you a video, right? Videos give a lot more context as to what it is that you're trying to you're really trying to sell it, but let's not talk about selling. Let's talk about adding value.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, people don't really want to be sold at this point in time when you're trying to get everything open for safety, right? So we're going to just quickly move to an offer from SWEPT as we get ready to wrap things up here. First off, there's free training for employees on COVID. This will actually be good for you guys. Fitness Center, it's good for you guys and the cleaning companies. It's called stopcovid.co. And basically you put your employee's phone number in, it sends them messages with videos and training on cleaning and just being safe. And so it's great for all kind of frontline employees, restaurant, grocery, cleaning companies, all of it. So that's not a SWEPT tool. It's just someone that we know, and it's free. So it's all about helping keep people safe. And the other side of it is for SWEPT, we have what we're calling dollar days. It's going to go to the end of this month. It's SWEPT for $1 a day for 60 days. Just letting people get in, get successful, help support themselves, their clients, their employees. So that offer is being launched now. And as we wrap up, is there any other thoughts from anybody here about what the cleaning companies can do to help, keep offices and workplaces safe? Any advice?
For us, I think a lot of it has been, I'm trying to view Ricky and his team as an extension of our own staff and working in tandem with it. It's not a separate service from what we're offering right now and the way that we're running our business. It's an integrated part of it that's going to be very important. So we're scheduling our staff around what it is that they're doing and the times that they're coming in. But ultimately, a lot of it really boils down to, if you're not 100% confident about the direction you're going, you've got to ask questions and you've got to get the advice to do the right thing.
Awesome.
Yeah, I agree. And, I assume that many of the folks listening in are maybe doing only office buildings or something like that. I would suggest really, really trying hard to get in touch with the office manager or whoever it is that you're reporting to for these companies and tell them that you're going to do a deep cleaning prior to staff showing up to work, whenever that day is. We're going to be there ahead of time to deep clean their office. So when their employees come, they're confident, and keep reaching out, bug them. I mean, seriously.
Yeah.
I'm usually the one bugging Ricky, but I would feel very confident. I would feel very reassured if it were the other way around. Like, hey, we're cleaning. We're going to be there. Get ready. Yeah.
That's awesome.
I think that's key.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think Steve just said he went dark. Something happened with his laptop. So.
Okay. One quick question actually has come up is about disinfection barriers. We're seeing products that are coming out that they're claiming, effective barrier for 90 days. People are wondering what your thoughts are about that. I guess it'd be for everybody. Ricky, from a cleaning perspective, you guys from, your own facilities, is that something you've looked into, heard about? Any thoughts on it?
Yeah, you guys, that Mike, that's actually a good question. So it is something that, Price, Steve, John, there's products out there in chemicals that are, they're not EPA list and approved, I think, not just yet, but there's many that aren't, that are still very reliable and good chemicals. But to my knowledge, what this chemical does, Mike and everybody, is you do it with the spraying service after you've already done a clean and disinfection. And it's supposed to protect for about 30, 60, 90 days, I believe. And what it does is, think of, a solution that has this is how I was broken down on how it works, is it's got like spikes. So as these microns or viruses or bacteria try to land on a surface, it protects the surface from that actually ever touching and landing, and it eliminates and protects for thereon. Where disinfecting, it doesn't protect, it just kills, right? So I'm sure we're going to see a lot more of it. So I'm glad you brought that up, Mike. So you guys will hear about this from me more and more in the future, but I'm still trying to learn more about it myself before I even presented it to you guys. But how would, like Mike said, is that something you guys would be interested or clients should be interested is now that's a step further than disinfecting. That is protection now.
Yeah. I mean, for me, I think that there's been, not only in the fitness industry, the healthcare industry, but just worldwide, there's a new focus on how do we really tackle this problem that's been around one way or another for a long time of not everything is as sanitary as what we would like it to be. So even though I feel very confident about our opening strategy and all the steps we're doing to keep people safe, the world's going to continue to learn. People are going to continue to evolve and solve these problems as, they continue to reemerge. So I'm not going to stop educating myself, and same thing for my team on what we can do to keep everybody safe. And I look forward to working with people like Ricky and getting their expertise on what is new and emerging that can help combat this.
Awesome. Okay, so thank you very much, Steve, Price, John, Ricky. Of course, thanks for helping us get all this pulled together. Great information shared with everybody, and again, as you can see, how much can be learned just by having putting some people on a call. So please keep connecting with your clients, and the world's opening up, and it's going to be safer because of what we're all doing. So thank you very much, and let's stay in touch.
Yeah, thank you for having us.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Take care, everyone.